of day 5 of candidates. Today we have sole lead by Nepo, great win against Van Gaal, great preparation, great win, and we would just immediately go and start from that one. I'm gonna use remote good engine to assist me, and I would do my best to explain the ideas not in a computer way but in a human way, humanest way possible, if that's a word. Okay, feel free to check the description of the video. You can ask questions in the chat. Hello Sanjay, Ramesh. Alright, and I'm gonna be checking the time spent on moves. So Nepo started thinking only at move 22-23, and Van Gaal already thought on move 12-13. So Nepo was better prepared, got advantage, maybe didn't play the perfect chess, but after this game he got sole lead with +2. So very solid Rui Lopez, sorry, my bad, Petrov of course. Bishop f5, not the most popular line, knight c6, bishop e7, bishop d6, but let me see if Van Gaal had played it before. Yu Yang-yi played it several times, although Wei Yi, so it seems like that's like a Chinese line. Lots of Chinese players are playing this line. So let's see what Nepo had prepared. Castle, bishop e7, rook e1, castle. c4 is the most popular line and the best line according to engine, approximately the best line. Knight bd2. So the idea is the knight is hanging, knight has to come back, and now knight to f1. So I can see that Anand played this with white, MVL, Aronian, strong players. Yu Yang-yi won last year with this line. Takes, c6, bishop to f4. White is developing pieces in a natural way. I'm very loud. Okay, thank you, Mark, for pointing that out. 1 second, I'm gonna try to adjust my sound. Apologies. Oh, yes. I think it should be better now. It seemed turned on. What about now? Is it better? Can you see me? Let me see. Yeah, I think it should be good now. I think it should be all right. Let me know if there's any problems with the transmission. I have a weird image in my OBS. Hold on a second. Sorry for the technical. It's the first time I didn't check. My mic beforehand. Let me see. Much better. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I can see that it's much better. Thank you for pointing that out. Great. Thank you. Yep. Very much better. Thank you, guys. All right. So, where was I? So this position was played by Yu with both colors. So I can see that in June he made a draw with Anand, but then he played in November with white and won. So it means he believes in this line, and he played knight to d6. Sorry, knight d6 was already played. Knight a6. So they both transposed to this game. So first he made a draw with Anand, and then played it with white. And h4, novelty by Nepo. It is a very logical novelty. So first of all, explanation, bishop takes, it's bishop takes d6, the queen is distracted and you take, that's it. So queen is overloaded, you cannot take the pawn, right? So I'm gonna remove that line, that's quite easy, I hope, for you. h4, what is the idea? So if you look at this position, the engine gives equality, or 0.2 for white. White is playing only on the king side, at least for the time being, because white has more pieces there. And it does make sense to expand on the king side with h4, h5. White can afford to do that because white controls the center better. h4 is not the first three choice of the engine, but rook e2 followed by knight e3, it's very simple. So h4 with the idea h5. Black cannot meet with h5, that would weaken the position too much. Knight g3, you have to weaken it even more. All these squares become weak. That's not good. Apparently white is even winning here. So black cannot really stop h5 or knight g5 from coming. What happens on h6? Knight goes to f5 now, or h5, and that would be very unpleasant. So knight c7, logical move by Van Gaal. And Nepo keeps blitzing out moves. Knight g5 is the idea to provoke a weakness or get a good bishop. G6 obviously was prepared by Jan. I'm not sure what he had prepared here. This is a new position that was never played before. It gives zeros, but these zeros could be very, very misleading. h6 did weaken the position. For example, white can go knight e3 and aim the knight somewhere there. And it seems that black has to go h6, knight f3 and h5. And after that, white can slowly prepare g4. Maybe not right now, but maybe g3 and slow improvement, like puts a knight on e5. Knight from e5 would never go away, because you can never go f6. Knight e5, knight g6 would always be an issue. White can slowly improve on the king side, and white is pressing. I'm sure he analyzed this position thoroughly. And by the way, if I were using Lila, it could, or some other engine like Komodo, it could really help with the ideas in closed positions. So I'm not sure what he had prepared, but bishop g5 is a natural move, because bishop takes, f6 comes with the tempo, bishop f4, queen d7, rook e8, black completes the development. Knight g3 still blitz out by Nepo. When did he stop his preparation? At move 22, approximately at move 22. g6 according to Stockfish, but creates even more weaknesses. So rook e8 is more natural. Now takes, knight arrives to f5, queen h3 with the children's trick, knight h6 check. Black has to do something about it, king h8, and now h5, exactly what white was aiming for. Great knight on f5, space advantage was h5, takes, and here Nepo started thinking after rook to e8. He actually thought 3 minutes on rook takes e1, because rook to e8 is an obvious response, so he and now he spent another 4 minutes to capture. And after knight to e8, he played g4 move in 15 minutes. So here white needed to come up with a plan, and he came up with a great plan, and it succeeded. He decided to support the knight, freeze the queen, and then prepare b3, c4, and break through in the center. So black has some weaknesses on the king side, but more weaknesses are required. Maybe a4 was an interesting move to get more space on the king side, on the queen side. And if a5, including these two moves, could be significantly in white's favor, because after b3, c4 takes, that would create more problems on the queen side. So, but he decided to go g4, and according to Stockfish, it was an inaccuracy. But I don't really understand this a6 move from Van Gaal. Maybe he just decided to wait. But generally speaking, one is not supposed to move pawns for no reason. So, I think I don't like this a6 move. It is the second best move according to Stockfish, but. Maybe king g8 was, well, after g4, black can afford to go king g8. Maybe the only issue is g5 is possible. And of course, renewing the knight h6 threat. And it says king back to h8. Ugh, I don't like it. So maybe he didn't like g5, and white's attack looks promising. So he decided to wait. b3, white clearly states, this is my plan now. And now going b5 is very risky. It creates weak pawn, weak square. This is not a good idea. So queen e6 getting the open file, and now he retreated the knight, and maybe black should have played b5. Maybe. White is still pressing, even though the evaluation is zeros, white is still pressing. Knife f5, yeah, that's a good one, Mark. Indeed, it's not a knight, it is like a knife. Now knight had to retreat to prepare c4. It seems to me that Nepo did lose some advantage, but he came up with the plan, and Van Gaal was spending a lot of time on every move. He spent 16 minutes on queen e6, and now 26 minutes on knight d6, h6, g6, and c4, takes. Yes. The engine gives zeros, but I don't believe those zeros. This is a very unpleasant position to play, because just like in that game Caruana-Nepo, where Nepo was struggling, when the queens are on the board, the pawn on h6 is a huge strength. Knight f7 is a weird move to play. I don't know, white can push d5 and get a passed pawn. White can go queen f3, and knight h6 is very risky because white's queen gets in and start collecting pawns. It gives zeros, but this is not human zeros. This is zeros where white is clearly pressing and black is in trouble. So he played king g8, logical move, queen h2, queen is ready to go to b8, king f7, c5, knight to b5. So far all good moves. Queen b8, but it is obvious that white is pressing. Come on, the queen on b8, the pawn is here weak, this is weak. So these zeros are extraordinarily misleading. Of course, white is have risk-free advantage. I don't know why knight d7 is working. Queen b7, king e8, oh my goodness. Queen h7 and queen f7 only move. And if check, queen f8 only move. And apparently the queen is trapped and black is, and if takes, this is healthy extra pawn, but somehow this is not losing. This is weird to me. I don't know, with such a powerful pawn, this is obvious to engine, not a human being. Or queen e7 and then white takes the pawn, one pawn down, queen e4. And why is it zeros? I don't know. If I give a check, king goes to e6. Come on, this is very hard stuff. So he played one passive move and that was it. And now Nepo attacked the pawn, king goes here, f4, great move. Now king is almost checkmated, knight takes d4, important check from g8, only move queen f7 because h7 pawn it needs protection, queen c8 check, queen d7, so white managed to, by the way, the point of playing b3 and c4 was to create a second weakness. Oh. Thank you. I'm not sure how to pronounce Su Yok Wak. Thank you for your compliments. All right. So the reason to do it was to create another weakness. One weakness was h7 pawn, but that was not enough. Another became b7 pawn, and the king became exposed, and white started to play on both sides of the board. Usually you cannot win on one side. And now queen g8, this is a brilliant geometry. Check it out. Check, 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 queen d8. Okay, finally queen d8, and what is happening? The knight has no place to go. If knight b5, a4, knight a7, this is ridiculous. Mate on d6, right? So queen d6 mate is coming, queen d7 only move, and only now f5, takes, king has no place to go. This is brilliant geometry. The queen was on h8, it seems that black holds it together, but check from here, check from there, just small repetition, and now queen d8, mate in one is coming, queen d7, f5, takes, knight f5, takes, and knight went back, and Wang decided to not waste time because there are pawns on both sides. The king would just join soon. F pawn is not going. Black has two pawns, but basically black has one pawn, and black cannot really go and take this pawn for various reasons. But for example, this one. And then knight is coming to get h7 pawn, but apparently white should go to the king side. And then the whole king side is being lost, or a fork, and that's it. So the king would stop the knight. By the way, for the record, if we remove the queenside pawns, imagine they disappeared, that's a theoretical draw. White has no way of making progress. Take a moment to think about that. Removing the pawns from the queenside, that's a theoretical draw. The king simply goes back and forth, but white wouldn't let the pawns disappear from the queenside. At some point, white would do this and collect all of them. So no, exchanging all the pawns would lead to a draw, but this is not the case. So Wang Hao decided just to resign here. Great defeat by Nepo. He got a better position of the opening. He did find a decent plan. h6 was a great move. c4, he's playing on both sides of the board. He's shaking black's position, and finally his opponent blunders. So now Nepo is in the sole lead, and now I briefly checked again his games, and it does seem to me that he's playing very good chess, except maybe one game with Grishchuk, but otherwise great win with white against Giri, with black when he got into opening preparation, and then won with black. That was amazing. And now this defeat, If you look with the engine, it seems it out of nothing. Oh, it was one blunder. No, he forced that blunder. He was pressing on the king side, in the center, lots of calculation required, and that's why he deserved to win. All right. So now he's a favorite in my view. Obviously, everybody would say it, but his level of play is quite high. MVL's play is also very high, of high level. Let's see the Giri Caruana game, which was next. Nepo versus Carlsen would be a fun match. What about match of Lagrave? We will check all the games, guys. All right. So Giri Caruana. Apparently Caruana prepared this line of Slav for black. With Ding, they had this one. They had this line, right? This was the line. No, wait, sorry, of course not c4, f3. This was the line against Ding where he lost, even though he got a better preparation. So apparently he prepared this line for these candidates. Not sure if that's a good decision based on the fact that it doesn't seem to suit his style in my personal point of view. So let's go. This is the theoretical position. Bishop. There are many lines here for white. White is trying lots of things here. The bottom line is white will have two bishops, but black would have a solid position. That's all you need to know about this one. White slightly controls the center a little bit better, but black is extraordinarily solid because that bishop escaped this pawn chain. If that bishop was on c8, black would had a horrible position, but bishop on g6 is great. Bishop d2, bishop e7. Takes, queen c2. Almost no games like this, except my good friend Ahmet Adli played this. Lupulescu played it twice. Queen c2 and knight bd7 played by Caruana. He was blitzing out moves. I think, let's see. Let me check through chess 24. No, knight bd7 he spent 10 minutes. Okay, because this queen c2 line was played only several times and not on the top level. All right, so he played knight bd7, which is logical, and Giri castled, following the game Lupulescu-Bu from last year, and Bu played queen c7, and Caruana played knight b6, which is a very typical idea of this line. Black wants to force white to do something. If white takes, it's c takes d, opens the c file for the rook. This was also very playable, but it gives black clear play on the queen side. But this knight on b6 is misplaced, so it was very possible to play for white. And Giri played c5. This was not his preparation. He spent 6 minutes. So here they both were on their own because this is literally a new position. So knight goes to d7. And now king b1, in my view, it is a little bit too slow, but this is very typical. Most likely black would go b6, white would have to take, and then the rook would belong on c file, and the king would belong on b1, so he's doing that in advance, not deciding what to do on the king side yet. King b1, and here on the next move, Fabi spent 10 minutes on queen b8 and 20 minutes on g5. And I think both moves are a little bit suspicious. I personally just like much more straightforward chess. Just go b6, you're gonna do it anyway. There must be a detail that I'm missing. What made Fabi think so hard here? Nepo, Valery says Nepo is very unstable player. He tends to start losing streaks in the middle of the tournament after perfect start. Yeah, one loss could change everything. Okay, come on, 5 rounds out of 14. This is way too early to draw any conclusions. Anything can change with one game. Anyone can win against anybody in this tournament. Well, maybe with the exception with Kirill. In my previous streams, I said that I would be surprised if he wins even one game here. I want to be surprised, but that's my view. Wow, queen b8, no, b6, come on, b6 is the human move. You just play b6 first, and then you decide for the queen. Queen b8, I'm guessing the idea is to have e5 possibilities and get away from the rook. Also, of course, attacking the pawn. h4, logical move, white is gaining space. g5. So, in previous streams I mentioned that I noticed that even the best players of the world, when they think very hard, they make mistakes. So In those kind of positions, I trust Stockfish a lot because it is a strong engine in open dynamic position. It's not open dynamic yet, but it's about to be. So G5 apparently was an inaccuracy. Still B6. Well, yeah, it requires deeper analysis, but I noticed 20 minutes per move, usually it's going to be an inaccuracy. G5, what I see is that black is helping white open the king side, which is white's intention in the first place. Here Giri played bishop e1. Apparently e4 was great, followed by e5. And so e4 here would be met with takes, takes, and e5. And black gets control over dark squares. But if after h4, g5, e4, de4, fe4, e5, d5, let's say bishop takes c5, bishop takes g5 wins back the pawn, black is just lost. So this is the key difference. So after e4, white could have seized huge advantage apparently. G takes h, just e5 I would play. And come on, white has space, white has bishops. The engine says there is even better move, g4, wow. Wow, that is nice. Gets even more space here first. So after e4, Fabi would be in great trouble in this position. This is not what you're supposed to be doing, in my view. You should play on the queen side. That's your field of, that's your only chance on the queen side. On the king side in the center, black is worse. That is why I think that is not only from Stockfish's perspective, but from human point of view, an inaccuracy. Mark says I may be wrong, but it appears that the silicon monsters are promoting for lines which would otherwise be rejected as unsound. Yeah, the engines are very precise in their calculations, and very often they prove the wrong moves to be correct. All right, so I do not have that much time left. Bishop to e1, so Giri got fantastic position, g4, e4, great move. White gets the center. So now is black forced to go b6, and after takes, 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 the position opened up for white's bishops. And white should have crushed black in my view. Knight e2, a little backward move, but it comes with a tempo and with the idea. The pawn is hanging here. So queen a7, b3, knight c1 was a good alternative, but b3 is also good. Knight h5, knight goes to g3, white plays energetic chess, capture, capture, f4, all moves are forcing and logical. King f8, bishop to e2, rook h7, bishop to d3. I do not know why he didn't push f5. This is such a natural move to play. You just throw f5 to open more files, whatever it takes. I don't care about the pawns anymore. 5 minutes for bishop to d3. What didn't he like about f5? You don't need to prepare it. So f5 and then see what happens. Probably black would go g5, but I'm happy to see f5, g5. After bishop d3, bishop g6 is not a threat. So I'm not really sure what... Maybe his plan was to move the bishop and then go f5, but why do you need bishop d3? I find it hard to understand. c5, black has to open more lines, more files to get some counterplay. So white was close to winning here. Bishop to c3, takes, takes, bishop f6. Black is desperate to exchange the bishop. And now takes, takes, gives up some advantage. White should have played bishop b5. And after takes here and converts the advantage from two bishops to winning the pawn on d5 and keep attacking with f5. It seems that black would have hard time holding this position. And yet Giri played this, and f5, which is logical. White still has big advantage after this. b5, rook h2, a little too slow. I like more straightforward chess. Maybe he decided to set the queen free, but apparently this was just winning. Rook h2 a little too slow. Rook h5, rook e2, where is he going? It is not obvious to me. So what obvious moves are here for white? Queen b2 to create tension here, although the knight maybe is not hanging yet, or maybe it is hanging. Queen a2, king c1, and there's no check from c8 because bishop. So I would go queen b2 here, or rook to, maybe can I do this? Ah, the pawn is hanging. No, I cannot do. Maybe just push the pawn to open more files, more natural moves that one would play in a blitz game. I don't think in a blitz game this makes sense. It does not make sense to me. Rook to e2. Rook to f2 I can understand. There's something to attack on this file. Not something, a lot. The knight, the king, the pawn. The pieces should be aimed at the weakness. Rook on e2 is aimed... into empty space. d4, rook e5. So weird maneuver, spinning himself. Knight g4, great move by FIDE. Rook to c5, knight goes to e3 with a fork. And now suddenly white is struggling for air. White, rook to c1, knight d5 only move with the threat knight c3. And here he decided that his advantage was lost. And that was it. So I don't know why FIDE is choosing this line. He seems to run into trouble in every game. Maybe he didn't analyze this position good enough to feel it like he's usually very good at openings. I think he should drop Slav, in my view. And Giri deserved to win this one, but the energy was not there. He needed to play much more straightforward, aggressive chess, especially in this moment. Like rook h2, e2, e5, this is very weird maneuver. There's the king, just put a rook in front of it, or push your passed pawn. It's a very simple, straightforward chess. Okay, next game. Grishchuk Ding. There's really not much to talk about in this game. I told in previous streams that Ding is very predictable in his opening choice, and he did lose the game with d6 here against MVL. So he decided to go for d5, takes, and Grishchuk was surprised by that, at least according to the transmission. I didn't have time to check the press conference. So in this game, Grishchuk played much faster than usually. He never spent more than even 15 minutes per move. So good job. But Ding played very solid chess, and not much to discuss here. a4, f6, knight e4, knight a5, bishop goes here, c5. Apparently there are plenty of correspondence games that ended in a draw here. Bishop to e3, attacking the pawn, protecting the pawn, takes. White can end up in a worse position if white doesn't do anything right now, because black has space and no bad pieces. So black just needs to move the king away from this pin, and then black would be better. So here knight takes c5, a tactical trick, and the idea is to play b4 with a fork using this pin. Rook takes c5, bishop takes c5 was also possible. b4, rook moves back, pawn takes, and now black is one pawn down, but since black has good control over the center, king h8 unpinning, bishop back to d2 protecting extra pawn. There were other ways, but in correspondence they played knight to b4 too, bishop b3. So Ding is very good at, he feels these positions with his fingers basically. And black would win back that pawn. Okay, that stockfish is not working, but I don't think I would need it anymore. All right, what is going on here? Now bishop to d5. The idea of bishop d5 is like attack d3 pawn, and if capture, it's queen takes, and black dominates. White is one pawn up, but c2 pawn is hanging. Rook to c1, knight back to c6 with the threat of b4. So black did sacrifice a pawn, but because all of black's pieces are great, black can hold this position relatively easy. This evaluation is extraordinarily misleading. 0.6, come on. Takes, d4. The only reason this evaluation is there, I'm going to show you why. Knight c6, takes. Wait a second, was there an improvement? No, takes, knight takes, of course not. Takes, queen g4, rook d8. So here's what engine is saying. You should have played this. Ding would play this, and it says queen f5, and black goes, I don't know, h6, and it says I'm gonna take. Well, takes, and queen takes. So this is the thing. If queen takes, the evaluation of this position is +1 or 0.7. This is ridiculous. This is easiest draw for black in the world. So maybe black could have played some better moves than, or maybe just hold it. So the advantage is funny. You know, in the best case scenario, you get rook endgame. Or queen endgame, which is relatively an easy draw. And so Grishchuk they just played. There's not much was happening here. Again, it says takes, queen e4. Come on. This is all draw. Black is solid. Black has only one weakness. This is not enough to win. So very equal, good game. The first time Grishchuk had good time management, he got no advantage whatsoever. And the last game was Oleksiyenko Vashela Graf. So MVL started playing this line, and rook g1. Yeah, very new move, I would say. But oh, Carlsen MVL last year. I did not know that. Rook c8, bishop e2. This is still Carlsen MVL, but how come Queen f1, knight fd7, g4 takes. Bishop f8 was London Chess Classic last year. But hold on, Oleksiyenko was surprised in the opening. How come that happened? How come he started thinking on move? No, he blitzed out moves. He tried to, okay, he blitzed out moves until move 17. Okay. Until this one. So g6, king f8 was played in correspondence chess 3 times, and it must have been his preparation. He had something prepared here, I'm guessing. Maybe queen g3, and I don't know. But g6 was a new move by MVL. Basically, MVL didn't spend any time until it was a forcing draw, basically. So extraordinary preparation on his behalf. By the way, the engine gives +1. This is wrong. Rook g6. The idea, of course, is if takes, knight takes, and the queen is suddenly trapped. Well, black can save the queen like this, but then I'm gonna collect the bishop on b7 and win material. Grishuk arrived late. Perhaps he was affected by something. Pure speculation. Late? You can be late in candidates? Okay. Rook takes c3, important move to include, and the idea is if queen takes, black has another move to include, knight a4, and then takes. Because if you don't include that move, rook on h8 would be hanging and white would win. So, but knight a4 would lead to apparently a draw. So Oleksiyenko played this move. The idea is if f takes, then queen takes. This is win for white. Queen c8 blitzed out by MVL. Knight g7 check, king f8, rook h6. Rook h6 only move takes, rook c2. And only here MVL's preparation ended. Only here he just knew that black has a draw. And after check he started thinking, and the game ended very quickly after this. f6. Apparently knight f6 was also played, but this is completely inhuman move. Why would you pin yourself like this? f6 logical move, bishop f4 forcing move, attacking here and clearing the way for the queen. And here MVL spent some time trying to find ways to play for a win. There is none. So takes, king takes, knight take, king b1 only move, knight c3, king a1 only move, because king b2 it runs with a check. No, wait a sec. Yeah, king b2 is still good, but no need to go here. It's black to move. So he went king a1, knight d1, and now queen h7, and then they agreed for a draw here. So basically that was a perfect game, but Kirill had to come up with all the moves over the board, and MVL had it prepared. So a confident draw by MVL, but I'm guessing he wanted to have a fight, but yeah, white played very high level. So there you go. All right, I'm about to end my stream. Sasha was in time for the start, but only just something. This is what I meant. Correspondence games can become cutting-edge theory. Yeah, they all follow corresponding chess. You have to update the database all the time. New games are being played every day. So Nepo is its sole leader, 3.5 out of 5. It makes sense to sum up after the first, after 7 rounds, which is half of the tournament, and everybody played against everybody. So let us give 2 more rounds. And in round number 6, we would have Nepo playing white with Dink. Dink is very solid. And Nepo has another white. Oh, wow. If he beats Dink, he would be a clear favorite. Grishuk plays white with Fabiano, Oleksiyenko Giri, and Van Gogh Vashiela Graf. So Vashiela Graf gets a second black in a row, but then he would have whites in the last round of against Nepo. So round 7 would be very interesting, because now clear leader is Nepo's 3.5 out of 5. MVL has 3 out of 5, and the rest have less. So far, previously I said that I think MVL is my favorite. Now I checked Nepo's games. He's also of high level. You're welcome, Mark. Okay, please check the below the video, the text. You can read more there. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe to my channel, tell your friends. I need more views. Thank you guys. Take care. See you tomorrow. Bye.